So the future is now, folks, or so says Simon Tyrrell, our Chief Product Officer, who's here today to present the LiveTiles Technology Roadmap, a behind-the-curtains look at what's happening in the LiveTiles product stack and what we can expect to see in the coming months. Simon, I'll get you to share your screen and turn on your camera, and really looking forward to this session.
So hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon, and already some fantastic conversations around what's the world looking like, and what are some of the things our customers are doing. And the purpose of my short session is, I guess, to really give you some insight into what we've been up to within the product areas of LiveTiles, and also give you some sneak peeks behind the curtain, so to speak, into some of the stuff that you're going to see us doing into the near future, and also some of the themes that are going into what will be coming out across our products. So I just thought I'd quickly touch on this. This is it's quite a lot to reference, because we have a debate internally who actually said this. Pete claims it, Nick claims it, Carl at one point will claim it, but it really does drive how I think about what we do, and a lot of what we do in our product, which is, if you think about technology in general, if you think about classic traditional intranet projects, ERP projects, CRM, whatever it may be, this idea that we have to have a change management and adoption program so our users adopt the thing we're giving them. And we don't believe that's the world anymore. And it's not about getting your users to adopt whatever it is you're doing, whether it be an intranet, digital workplace, etc. But it's about whatever you're doing, adopting your people. And hopefully you'll start to see a lot of what we're focused on now and into the future really is based in that sort of mindset. I thought it also worth sharing with you some of the product principles that sort of underpin how we think about what we do with our product, because it hopefully gives you some, it's a non-technical, non-feature function type ideas around what drives us and why we do what we do. So firstly, be where the users are. So this really talks about minimizing the amount of context changes required to get things done. I don't know how you feel as an employee within an organization, but the classic notification overload, what I refer to as dumb notifications, where I get told there's something I need to do, but the only option I've got is to click something to take me somewhere else. The flow of my work, as they call it, is disrupted. We start to exhibit cognitive dissonance, which is, interruption to your headspace you're in at that time, which, can take anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes to get back, even for a minor interruption. So a lot of what we're focused on today and into the future is about how, when you interact with something LiveTiles does, how do we minimize the amount of context changes that you're required to do just to get some things done. Hide the complexity from users. So, the technology landscape of organizations is really complex. There's a bunch of different technologies. There's always new technologies coming in. Cloud is accelerated and exacerbated that for many users. Do I use Planner? Do I use Trello? Do I use, Microsoft right now has 4 different apps for doing task management, and that doesn't include Outlook tasks. So, which one do I use? And this part's using this part's using that. So how do we just get rid of that and abstract that for the user so they can focus on just getting their stuff done or accessing what it is they need. Be intelligent and guide or automate user journeys. So one thing I want to make clear is, with LiveTiles, you're not going to see us come out with algorithms that drive to removing people in your workplace. Plenty of other companies can go after that. We're about using what we refer to as everyday artificial intelligence, and it's about how does AI help, reduce the mundane, reduce the repetitiveness, reduce the noise, so users can have not only higher productivity, potentially a better existence and experience within their workplace, because they're happier. So you'll see us doing a lot of stuff around that. And once again, delivering unforgettable user experiences, simple, beautiful, and cohesive. But this also applies. This is actually one of our company values, and applies to when you interact with LiveTiles, whether that be with one of Owen's team in the sales team, whether that be someone like Molly, whether that be someone in the product team, whether it be with Carl and Pete. We want it to be an unforgettable user experience. That doesn't mean it has to be some big party or big event, but just, an act of kindness, an act of authenticity, that type of thing. So it's not just about product features here, it's about how we look to act as an organisation. So COVID hit, we had all our plans in motion, and then we had to stop and go, what does this all mean? And what it meant for us as a company was an opportunity to accelerate some stuff we'd already had in motion. And if you've been a customer with LiveTiles for a while, we've done 3 acquisitions of other companies in less than 2 years, with Hyperfish, Wisdom, and most recently Cycle. Those acquisitions brought some fantastic technology, but for some fantastic people, but it also introduced complexity and potentially confusion around how does this fit in. And we were hearing very loud and clear from customers about, get clearer with us, explain to us, how does this fit with that, et cetera, et cetera. And what COVID really did is just forced us to accelerate doing that. And so we have 4 products: LiveTiles Intranet, LiveTiles Everywhere, LiveTiles Reach, and LiveTiles Quantum. And what I'm going to do today is go through each of these and highlight some of the key things that they do today, but also what's coming tomorrow and why that's coming. So, if you're a LiveTiles page designer customer, like Flinders talked about earlier, that's part of our intranet products now. Okay, Reach is being talked about a lot, Everywhere. These are our 4 products. They all have different capabilities. They can all be used together, but they can also be used separately. You can mix and match different pieces of them, and they're very much targeted at delivering particular outcomes to our customers and solving particular problems. And this is how our product organisation globally is now structured, around these four pillars, if you want to think about it like that. So let's talk about LiveTiles Intranet. This is what we're known for. This is where we started, and very much where a large proportion of our user base sits today. So LiveTiles Intranet actually has 3 ways you can deliver this term in intranet. We do not believe there's a one-size-fits-all solution to intranets. And what Flinders University spoke about, what they're doing is an intranet use case, and it's very specific compared to what Ahmed's doing within his organisation, a different style of intranet, a different set of requirements, but delivering it with LiveTiles capability. So what LiveTiles Intranet is bringing together is the rich capabilities that we have in our enterprise intranet product, which is what Wisdom was, our rich design and flexibility of Page Designer, and a new capability which many in the Asia Pacific region are not familiar with is a much simpler, lighter touch, aggregated type of approach to an intranet through what was previously referred to as Matchpoint Hub. Our approach to this was recently recognised with Forrester in the new Forrester Way for intranet platforms, where we were higher than Atlassian and Microsoft in that Wave report, and encourage you to check that out and see what they said about us. So let's think about our enterprise capabilities. So if there's some customers on the session today that have implemented in Wisdom, but what we're talking about here is this is when you have large organisation style requirements. You're looking for centralised governance and management. SharePoint Modern is a starting place for you, but you've recognised that perhaps it doesn't go far enough. Perhaps it's too siloed. How do you ensure consistency of navigation of experience across potentially thousands and thousands of site collections in SharePoint? So it's about centralised governance and management. It's about having all these centralised administrative capabilities right through from how the platform works to how you manage policies and procedures, etc. It's about a coherent information architecture across all of the parts of your intranet, and starting to think about how you deliver those no matter where the user might be in your enterprise intranet. And particularly focused on things like highly governed content, policies and procedures, highly governed corporate communications, that type of thing, and of course centralized, consistent navigation experience. So that's our enterprise capability. But then let's not forget what Flinders referred to before: this ability to deliver experiences that work for particular needs, and the very flexible approach that our Page Designer brings to this, whether that be alongside standard modern SharePoint. Within modern SharePoint, there is an ability to even use Page Designer now within just a modern SPFX weak part environment, or perhaps using it standalone still. We still have lots of customers doing that, whether it's one of the largest athletics brands in the world, use our designer product completely standalone from doing anything in SharePoint or SharePoint Modern. And the reason organizations are still using this is they want to create experiences like this. They don't want to be restricted through their branding, through their layout. They want to be able to create multiple experiences really, really fast, like what Flinders University spoke to, without the need to invest in technical deep knowledge or even any technical knowledge at all. And we're really seeing our customers start to think about using this as almost a microsite concept within organizations, alongside what might be the more traditional enterprise capability. And then we hit our hub, our LiveTiles Intranet hub capability. And hub is a fantastic way to deliver an intranet use case or outcome when you want to bring stuff together really, really simply for users. And in this screenshot, what you're seeing here is a real simple page that is literally up and running in minutes. And it's bringing in information from your Outlook in Office 365. It's aggregating news sources from both LiveTiles Reach, but also SharePoint news, RSS external news, all sorts of stuff. It's bringing in your documents, your tasks from the Office 365 environment as well. So it's about delivering an intranet that's not so much about a bunch of different sites with an information architecture and that type of thing. It's about aggregating work content and information together so a user has a one-stop shop, if you will. So if that type of thing interests you, then absolutely Hub is worth checking out. And it's really important to know that all three of these can be used within a single organization, because you can deliver that enterprise intranet capability, but then perhaps you deliver a hub for a certain audience of users, a certain use case or a certain division, for example, or perhaps you just provide it as an alternative way to access information, and then you could be having the page designer to deliver those rich, highly branded, flexible experiences to users as well. So it's not a one-size-fits-all, and it's been something we've been really strong on since our existence, that we don't think you can just roll out one template and nail an intranet in nearly all organizations. So what's to come from all of this stuff? We have a lot of stuff. Well, you're going to see us continually investing in the evolution of these features and also sharing capabilities across them. We already have our intranet team, which is based in Europe, sharing capabilities from some of the stuff Matchpoint Hub's doing. What was Matchpoint Hub? Our Hub capabilities, bring those into our enterprise intranet capabilities, bringing design, page design into some of this as well. If you're a Wisdom customer, what was Wisdom, and now LiveTiles Intranet Enterprise customer, we are working on a new mobile experience. We know the current mobile experience, which was built on classic SharePoint, needs a ton of work. But the great news is we're actually going to be leveraging a fantastic mobile experience that we have for LiveTiles Reach and reimagining that and repurposing that so you can bring all of that content in, not just your enterprise intranet content, but also content from SharePoint as well. You'll see enhancements to Notice Board, and we're working on something very exciting around a universal content publishing engine, which means you'll have this really rich, modern way of creating content and pushing it out to SharePoint, pushing it out to Notice Board in the enterprise intranet, pushing it out to Reach, doing all of it together if you so wish, all from a central, consistent and very modern content publishing platform. Metadata automation, inheritance, all sorts of stuff coming around that as a cloud service. That's what really underpins our hub product today, and looking to share that across. We're also got some independent governance dashboard stuff coming, which you can see a screenshot just there around how you manage all those sites, because one of the things we've absolutely seen with SharePoint Modern across customers is just proliferation of sites absolutely everywhere. It really is the architecture now, particularly with Teams also creating site collections left, right and centre. So how do you bring some sense around that and do all that? And then using our LiveTiles Quantum capabilities, which I'll be talking about shortly, and evolving those smarts into the intranet platform as well. So LiveTiles Everywhere. This is actually new but not new, which sounds sort of strange. But when we acquired Wisdom, they had a feature they were just launching at the time called Power Pattern, and it really got us excited and interested. And it's still a capability within the enterprise intranet product that I just referred to, but we've pulled it out, and LiveTiles Everywhere is bringing that out as a discrete feature. And what it's really about is how do I do that inclusive employee experience regardless of where users are doing their work. So how do I get that experience into applications so they're not doing that context switching, if you think back to the product principles? How do I bring my intranet to Teams? It's one of the most common questions I get asked. Simon, are intranets dead? What about if all my users are in Teams? And my answer to that is intranets as the services they're providing are not dead. Intranets as a single point where you drive all your audience to, I believe is dead, because you need to make sure your intranet is delivering its stuff no matter where your users are, because you need to follow the eyeballs and you need to stop competing for attention. So everywhere is a very, very easy, powerful way to bring that into Teams, but as I'll share shortly, into other things as well. And then the great thing about everywhere, you can have it on your intranet, you can have it in Teams, you'll be able to have it in other things, mobile experiences into the future, and it will be a consistent, centrally governed, centrally managed feature. You can target different things to different groups of people, which means having that directory information that was talked about earlier becomes really, really important, and really give a contextual, powerful experience and go to where your users are. So what's to come with everywhere? Well, the first great thing that I'm really excited about is we've taken that capability out of that big enterprise infrastructure that our intranet enterprise product requires, and we're turning it into a cloud service. So you'll see here some examples of the sign-on flow you'll do, where you can get this up and running really, really, really quickly and get it into Teams or get it onto your intranet, and away you go, and then manage all of that centrally. We don't store any of the data. We just store configurations of the experience, and you decide what goes onto those things. One of the most underpowered features of Everywhere and Power Panel before it has been the welcome page. And we literally just kicked off a global, we call it a design-a-thon, but you can think of it as a hackathon across our company. I kicked it off on Wednesday, and we've got teams of our staff, not just product team. We've got HR people, we've got finance people, we've got sales people, all coming together in small groups right now, beavering away on what could this welcome page be. And we'll be sharing those out with our customer base and to this audience in particular for you to give your feedback on what it could be. And there's going to be some very, very interesting concepts coming up about what the welcome page can become. So look out for that. We're also thinking about it everywhere in other places. In Outlook, we've already started some conceptual work on that. A smart browser extension. Now, I think this is incredibly powerful, because what we've been working on is the idea of a browser extension for Chrome, and also the latest Microsoft Edge, where it can be smart. It can start to understand that you're currently navigating through salesforce.com. So I'm not going to prioritize Salesforce data, for example, if I might have a panel that's aggregating Power BI data, such as what Flinders University spoke about. But I'm not going to prioritize that to you now because you're already in Salesforce. But what I will prioritize to you is marketing data, because there might be an interesting thing there where you want to know about campaigns we're currently running as you're looking at your pipeline. Really quite simple things like that, but making it really, really smart. We'll also be looking at everywhere and how it enables mobile experiences, not necessarily just discrete applications, but how it embeds itself into other experiences. And already today, it can be used within the Teams mobile app. We're looking at how we take our page designer capability that we're famous for and embedding that in, so you can, instead of creating pages, you create everywhere panels and experiences, same drag and drop capabilities. And the ultimate goal for me is getting smarter as you use it. Knowing you as a user, knowing where you use it from, knowing what's important to you, and adapting itself to make sure it doesn't get in your way and delivers what you need. That's the ultimate vision for Everywhere for me. So LiveTiles Reach has been a lot talked about. I know there was a request in the Q&A about, in the chat about a demo. We've just shared a link where I literally did a recorded session demoing it yesterday. So feel free to jump on and check that out. But Reach, it's really lightweight, it's really modern, and you're up and running really quick. We've got it in the Azure data center here in Australia, so you can be up and running very, very quickly. Its core feature is around news, corporate communications, but it's worth noting it can also have structured pages, wiki style, same modern content creation experience, but allows you just to structure content like you would say in a wiki in a Confluence, for example. You can do events where you can have users register for events, and it also has people capability as like finding people, contacting people, that type of thing. It's especially powerful for users who often are missed because they're in, say, Teams. or they're in Slack for potential. And how do you get that top-down messaging to those people? I'm very pleased to say that you not only can have reach on your intranet or its dedicated web experience, but we now have Teams app for reach. So if you're an organisation who has lost the attention of users because they're now back-to-back meetings in Teams, they're now collaborating in Teams, and you're wondering, how do I get my top-down message to them? Bang, that's what Reach does. And you'll see it in the webinar recording that we've shared. And most importantly, and there it is in Teams there's a pinned app, but most importantly, you can create content for this experience, so it's not just about consumption. I like to tell the story about a corporate communicator who's just come off a Teams meeting with the CEO. They need to get an important alert message out to everyone in the Melbourne office about the stage 4 restrictions, for example. The corporate communicator, particularly with the new meeting experience in Teams, where you can pop out your meeting and use Teams side by side. You could be drafting that there and then and publishing it. You don't need to leave Teams and go anywhere else, which I think is important. And finally, Reach is mobile first. It was built for the ground up about being a slick mobile experience. And importantly, not only your Office 365 users base, but you can also mix integrated Office 365 Azure AD authenticated accounts with non-authenticated accounts, such as a frontline workforce who you're not licensing yet for something like Teams or SharePoint, and provide those same users with exactly the same functionality. BYOD, grab the app from the App Store, etc., etc. And we've got customers doing that today. So what's to come with all of this? And there's just hopefully a video we'll play down the bottom right-hand corner of something that we're very, very happy to announce is coming in the very near term. So one of the things that was mentioned before was about our Canva integration. So we started working with the Canva team a little while ago now, and finally we've got it coming into the Reach platform. Why is this important? You're one click away being able to create compelling banner images for your content body, etc. And you'll see here the image appearing in the story. You can do that from the Teams application, and it's a very, very simple way to not be reliant on your own graphic design capabilities, not being reliant on just standard stock photography imagery, which we already have in Reach, but being able to create your own customized but very, very compelling and rich imagery to support your content. We've also got one-to-one and group Q&A capabilities coming into Reach sometime around September. So this is to support things like town hall type meetings. And once again, not trying to take on a Yammer or any of those type tools, but what about the users who aren't licensed for those? How do you give them the capability to have chat type facilities? So we're bringing that into Reach. Expanding, once again, a bit similar to the theme of everywhere. Other applications where users spend their time. We've already got Reach working in a browser extension. We already have Reach working with a Slack bot. So you post a message out from Reach, you could be posting it for Teams. If you have users in your organisation who like to use Slack, cool. They can be alerted about that, see what the article's about and access it. So once again, making sure you get all this important information to your users where they are, as opposed to expecting them to come to you. Our directory service integration is already in the product to be released in the not too distant future. So taking the people feature of Reach and building in that intelligent gathering of profile data, organizational charts, smart searching of people, etc., is all coming as well. And finally, something that's quite exciting I've been working on for a little while is how do you use AI to do content summarization and publishing? Whether that be looking at your own internal sources and creating a summarization capability there, or whether that be doing external information. We've been using this internally for COVID related external content. We summarize about 7 or 8 different official public sources of information, and it creates a readable, in context summary within a single article. And we think that's a very, very powerful and exciting thing to come. LiveTiles Quantum. So LiveTiles Quantum is the smarts that power our intelligent experiences. So it's where our AI capabilities live and where they will live into the future. Today, this is made up of our intelligent profile directory, which many of you are probably familiar with and was discussed earlier, reaching out to users, making sure their data is up to date, users not having to care where that data is stored. Is it an on-premise Active Directory? Is it Azure AD? Is it potentially stored in the HR system? as an employee, I should not have to care about that. Our digital assistants bots, got a lot of experiences with bots, and so that sits in this platform as well, and really starting to see how bots are evolving. To be honest, a lot of hype over the past few years, a lot of bad use cases, a lot of customers failing with bots regardless of the technology going in, but we're starting to see customers really get their head around the role of digital assistants and bots within the work experience. We've got our analytics around our page designer. We now have the analytics and heat mapping around standard modern SharePoint pages as well, giving you that visual reference point of what's actually being used on the things you're delivering. And finally, a really exciting product for us that we're right now doing some very cool stuff on, and Vanessa will talk to more about our own use of it, is LiveTiles Vibe, a way to interact with your users about anything. Yes, health and wellbeing, which Ness will talk about, but in theory it can be used to interact with users about absolutely anything you want to interact with them about. So what's to come? I'm very excited to announce to this group, you are the first in the world outside of LiveTiles to see this. We're weeks away, literally a little bit of time away from Vibe, which has to this point been about going to Teams, but extending into interactive emails. Not just a dumb email that you click a link and get taken elsewhere, but within the Office 365 environment, you're interacting within the email itself, whether that be, for example, how you're feeling today, how you're feeling about returning to work. It could also be, are there any issues in your project that you'd like to raise? So being able to use LiveTiles Vibe, it gets your users in Teams like we've already been doing, but also extend that into interactive emails, and then also being able to extend it into things like the Intranet and Reach. That's on the agenda as well. And what we're really excited about LiveTiles Vibe here is that we start to think about connecting it to data and events of data in systems like a sales system or a HR system or a marketing system. And rather than that system just sending a notification to someone that there's something they should do, actually intelligently delivering it to them across different channels and allowing them to do that thing from that message, and then it goes away. And it's very similar to what our intelligent directory service has been doing for years with the user profile, but this starts to expand into all sorts of data and all sorts of interactions that you may want to use it to do. Looking to expand our analytical insights across our experiences will be on the agenda. Something I'm very pleased to share here is a thing we've been working on around unlocking recorded meetings. If you think about how many meetings you're in, if you think about how many meetings are now being recorded, you may have also noticed people aren't really taking notes. And yes, systems are doing transcripts, but you're losing a lot of the value. You'll lose if you couldn't be at that meeting, or if you need to go back and see when Paul talked about X. So what Smart Meetings is doing is it's indexing, unpacking those recordings, indexing, using all the metadata it can grab and the transcripts, and then you're allowed to search, and you'll see here I'm searching for the word intranet, and you get a real-time personal highlights reel of every meeting you have access to where this particular thing was said or this particular person was participating when it was said. And you can distill down hundreds of hours of meetings into literal minutes of playback, and at any point go, that's interesting, I want to jump into that. And I really want to talk to Flinders University about this, about how universities should be using this for students who can no longer be on campus at the moment, and all the recorded webinars I'm sure they're trying to, lectures they're trying to sit through, and tutorials, etc. So really, really powerful capability here, and we've got that today, and we'll be investing further in it. And finally, extending all of this stuff to what we do, to more integrations with key systems and platforms that talks back to that potential to stop people having to constantly switch and constantly change work modes, constantly change tools and systems just to get their work done. So how are you going to be kept informed of all of this? Because there's a lot going on. You're going to start seeing us doing deeper dive sessions for each product. You're going to see more faces from roles we've introduced called product directors. So, you'll get to speak to Libby around quantum, Yes around everywhere, Matthias around Reach, for example. You'll start to see a lot more faces having conversations with you through deep dive sessions. In a few weeks, we'll be sharing out our high-level futures roadmap and detailed product roadmaps. We'll start to distill this down into more of a timeline form. But, I really want to take the opportunity here to give you a sense of how we're working on things, the types of things we're focused on, and also some of the themes into the future. And Paul, back to you.